is by Guru Raja, fondly called Guru. Guru is a faculty at Srishti Manipal Institute of Art, Design and Technology. He works in a citizen science project on mapping the Malabar tree toad, which is elusive, which has a very short time when you can sight them. He'll talk more about it. And they're actively engaging and empowering citizens to document and map an endangered and endemic tree toad from the Western Ghats. He's also a strong votary of open data, citizen science, public access to data and things like that. I've known him for 5 years. Over to you, Guru Raja.
Hello everyone, I'm Guru Raja. Hello everyone, I'm Guru Raja KV, a faculty at Srishti Manipal Institute of Art, Design and Technology, Bengaluru. I'll be speaking about Frog Watch in India, current status and future directions, which is a citizen science initiative working exclusively on frogs of India. The overview of the talk will be on introduction of Frog Watch India, patterns in terms of contributors, observations, species, and distribution, and the insights and way forward. To begin with, Frog Watch India is part of India Biodiversity Portal, which was started in 2012. The data, if you see on frogwatchindiabiodiversity.org, shows there are so many species and nearly 3.9 observations, but these are inclusive of the observations that dates back from 2012. But for today's talk, I will be speaking from the inception of Frog Watch within India Biodiversity Portal, that is from June 2014 till 31st August 2020. It is still continuing, but I will be restricting my talk till 31st August 2020. So let me begin with the number of contributors. We have about 412 contributors to frogwatchindiabiodiversity.org. These are the names of them. Without their contribution, Frog Watch wouldn't have been, I wouldn't have been able to present this talk. So the number of contributors are 412 and their numbers are increasing each year. And this year has been exceptional with 95 contributors joining in 2020. Among contributors, the top 10 contributors contribute to about 42% of the observations, which is about 1,269. These are the top 10 contributors. There's Hari Krishna with 569, Praveen with 177, John Hakim with 111, Ramya, Ramit, Karthik, Nagbhushan Jyoti, and so on. Coming to the number of observations in Frog Watch, as of 31st August, we have 2,972 observations. And again, it's keep increasing. But if you look at the GIF over here, which is made on a monthly pattern of observations, so number of contributions are coming from the Western Ghats and Northeast India. There are also contributions from islands. However, all the contributions, if you plot against the monthly distributions, so it is highly seasonal because amphibians are seasonal too. So data for observation versus data of uploading on Frog Watch. I try to plot that, all the 2,972 observations. And what we observed is that there is a data latency in it. The data of upload and what is actually being observed has a bit of data latency. And I would like to stress upon that in the future slide. In 2020, when we asked people to upload data, it was also done through social media. We observed that data is coming as far as 2002 and 2005 in the year 2020. That means the date of observation of a species versus data of uploading on Frog Watch is generally different, which is more than 50%. So when we plotted what is the latency period, so within 1 month, generally 46% of the data gets uploaded onto the website. Otherwise, it can take anywhere between 32 days to 6,390 days, which is about 12 years. There are 3 data points which are from 1970. I have not included that in this particular graph. Number of species being observed, rather number of observations being done, there are nearly 3,000 observations, but among that there are about 200 observations which are not identified. And identification is at multiple levels. From order family levels, there are 5. At genus level, there are nearly 400, and at species level, there are over 2,300. The number of listed species are 238, and these are the top 10 species that contribute to 30% of the observation, which includes very common species like common toad, the bullfrog, and the common tree frog, and the skittering frog. There are exceptions like Malabar tree toad. It is mainly because of a particular program in which we ask people to contribute for the observations they have done. Coming to spatial distribution of observations, it's very clear that the observations are skewed towards Western Ghats because more than 60% of data comes from the Western Ghats, followed by Northeast India, and then the island portions. Rest of India needs further push for more number of observations. So with this, I'll come to the insights that we got. The majority of the contributors, 380 or 400, are from urban areas. There's a clear lack of contributions from local people, school and college students. The data uploaded in last 6 years is very less. Like 3,000 is very meager number compared to other citizen science initiatives like FrogWatch USA, Frog ID Australia. The top 8 contributors have better understanding about amphibians either by training or practice. So in essence, it says that all contributors need handholding, at least in the initial phase, followed by appreciation for their contribution, and there needs to be a consistent interaction at least once a year. More uploads were observed soon after a training workshop or a popular talk or frog walks or other events that mentions about FrogWatch. This is apparent in 2014 when the FrogWatch was launched, in 2016 when we had Bisley Frog Walk, 2015 and 2020 where we categorically launched Mapping Malabar Tree Toad initiatives. Coming to observation records, these are very highly seasonal. Very apparent that amphibians are also seasonal. Observations have high percentage of latency. There needs to be a communication on the importance of observations and the quick uploads because the data probably gets lost in the hard disk. There are 70% of data which are not identified. This may not be a big issue, but if it is contributed by a newcomer or new contributor, it can have a negative influence on him. Spatial distribution, as clearly marked out, is skewed towards Western Ghats, more than 60%. So there needs to be bring more contributors from rest of India, and their contribution has to be uploaded onto the FrogWatch website. There is a need for training on several aspects. I have listed only 3 here. First one is on basic, safe and ethical practice of frog observations. Then about the use of web apps and mobile apps. And then asking about good questions beyond mere identifications. There also needs to be large outreach programs to build network of contributors, to work on particular species groups, for example, on Malabar tree toad, what we did, and then later to expand it to a region. Good publications involving contributors and their data, which can be a great incentive for their contributions and network. There also needs to be a push on why FrogWatch, the kind of workshops we want to do, and there has to be public-friendly frog walks, advantages of Creative Commons license, data ownership, and the data usability. So with that, I conclude my talk. This is the acknowledgement. I thank all the 412 contributors of FrogWatch, and that's what I'm presenting here. Thanks to Prabhakar, Thomas, Harikrishna, and Ravi from Metastring. Thanks to Habitat Trust Grant for supporting Malabar tree toad. Thanks to Prabhakar, Thomas, thank you very much. Harikrishna, and Ravi from Metastring. Thanks to Habitat Trust Grant for supporting Malabar tree toad. Thanks to Prabhakar, Thomas, thank you very much. Harikrishna, and Ravi from Metastring.
Hi, Guru.
Hello.
That was a really great talk.
Thank you. Hope there are a lot of questions.
Actually, I think we seem to be going a little slow this afternoon.
Okay.
There are questions coming for the previous talk only now.
Okay.
So I think there's a little bit of a lag. So we will kind of, go over the Q&A slowly. We
Perfect.
also have a cancellation of one talk. So we have ample time to get to questions.
Fantastic.
So we can,
Fantastic. Yeah.
we can start with the questions that you have. Farida Tampal would like to know if you are planning any systematic and regular outreach programs to increase contributions into FrogWatch, and are you open to collaborators?
Yeah, definitely. I'm always open to collaboration, and especially to speak with local people. And I'm looking at them than the trained people who are residing in, let us say, Bangalore or some cities kind of stuff, because their agenda is completely different. Where when we talk about conservation, we need people from the local area. So I will be more than happy to do that.
Okay, great. Yeah. We have a couple more questions. Is it possible to upload without ID if someone is not a frog expert? Ask Shannon. Ask Sham Patyal.
Correct. Yeah, that is open in IBP. You can upload photograph. Only request that we make is that not to upload a frog in your hand, because there are some ethical practices that we are talking about on not handling frogs, either because of the chytrid infections or because of the temperature that we carry and we eventually kill a frog. Except that we ask anybody to upload not just frogs photograph. They can also upload call recording, video, and if they have any checklist, they can also do that. Yeah.
Okay. Abhishek Jamal Bhad says, is the increased rate of uploads after outreach in the form of spikes, or is it sustained? If spikes, any insight on possible ways to sustain it? He also says, fascinating and commendable work.
Thank you, Abhishek. The thing is that whenever again, since I work in the field, and this also happens, and Prabhakar can correct me if I'm wrong, I keep asking them in the last week of May to say, Prabhakar and Thomas, can you just upload this? Can you do something new? And that will be very short window period, but so far they have been really good in saying, okay, Guru, let's go and do it. And that actually pushes people to contribute. And the great example is from this year, when we did the mapping Malabar tree toad thing. We not only asked it on the website, we also pushed it through social media. And in the sense, it's like a challenge kind of stuff. We said, anybody who is working in Western Ghats, you need not have to go to the Western Ghats because of COVID, but search your database, photographs, wherever you have kept it. Can you just upload it onto? People specifically ask, is it okay if we upload from the past? That is really good kind of stuff. And we pushed it. And in 10 days of pushing, you can see that the data, which was at around 48, ended up at about 85, 90. So that was a great contribution. So, but again, coming back here, pushing, being consistent and consistently saying this is what we are expecting, actually that works a lot in this, at least in this FrogWatch program.
Okay, great. Actually, that was our next question. So you kind of answered that. Santosh Rajus asked if you can upload old data. So can you update on FrogWatch?
Yes.
Okay. Varun Taneja asks, has the ecotourism industry contributed in submitting data? If not, are there plans to collaborate, since people living in such areas are always in direct contact with the species?
Wow. So we have not so far segregated in terms of their like organization kind of stuff. It's all based on people's interest and how far they can stretch themselves. If there is certain group kind of stuff, it's still possible. Prabhakar, correct me if I go some wrong here. We have not categorized anybody, right? It can be a 5-year-old kid. If we know how to upload and how to use a phone and take a picture and upload, we are happy to.
Okay.
So yeah, but if collaboration can happen with certain groups, still it's still open. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Madhura Nipatkar asks, she says it would be nice to have localized training sessions in different locations.
Yeah.
And is that something that you've done or thought of? And she's saying, especially in respect to school and colleges.
Yeah. So if you see those spikes, couple of those spikes are because of the FrogWatch that we conduct in Bisley, that we conduct in Dandeli areas. So you will see that suddenly after a particular talk of a day or two, you will suddenly see a boom of around 60, 70 uploads. So that comes from the people who participated. They will go back, they will upload from that particular workshop or from the backyards kind of stuff. So it has happened in that manner. And I do agree with Madhura that we need this local kind of pushing, because that is what actually matters to FrogWatch.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we have two questions about frog identification. So Nishant and Chief Red Earth, both are asking similar lines of questions. Nishant says, what do you generally need to look for in a photograph to identify a frog?
Yeah.
And Chief Red Earth says, as you mentioned that there are many unidentified frogs, could you mention why they're unidentified and how you can solve it?
Yeah, so I will take the second question first because that is close to me. In the sense, we are in a taxonomic flux, and you have seen that last 20 years we added 200 odd species to Indian subcontinent. In the sense, we were 452 as of now, but among that, 200 of that has come in just 20 years. So we don't have anything like a guidebook. It's all very it covers very minimum amount of species. So when you look at Western Ghat itself, we have more than 200 plus species. So how a person can identify? So he has to refer to the original papers. That becomes a big task. So if you are an enthusiast who has taken a photograph, and then you are asked to look at a paper which is of 80 pages in length, you will lose interest. So there is a responsibility on me also in a way to translate those technical jargons or information into small pictorial booklets kind of stuff. We are probably in few years down the line, we will have certainly in those lines some guidebooks available. But again, these are real challenges in the field. And in addition to that, there are taxonomic issues. There are cryptic species, there are species which have overlapping ranges. Our initial ideas of Western Ghats with 200 species was in year 2000. But now with the changes and addition of species, you need to relook at what is happening over here. And somebody has to translate that into the level at which you can conversate with the people. Now we are only not even good in conversating among petrologists itself. So think about how we will be able to conversate with the people. So that's a real great challenge we have. And anybody who wants to pitch in and help us out, most welcome.
Okay, so Lakshmikant Neve asks, how many species of frogs in India? And you've talked to us about Western Ghats, but do you have an estimate for India?
Yeah, 452 as of now we have.
Oh, wow.
452 species. But again, it can shoot up anywhere another 100, 150 species.
Okay. And Rajit says, what does the presence or absence of frogs tell us about the ecosystem?
Wow. In what sense, if I can ask? Where
maybe,
are you looking at?
Maybe this is just a general, how do frogs kind of tell us something about ecosystem health?
Yeah. Okay. So if you are residing in an urban area and if you are not having a frog, it's a clear indication they don't have their habitat. It's been gone. But if you are in an area where you used to have so many species, but now you are not hearing them, that's also an indication something is happening to the habitat. So in a way, if habitats are gone, if the food resource is gone, you will not see many frogs around. And if there are no natural depressions where water doesn't collect during the rainy season, again, you are going to lose many of the species, which are seasonal breeders, right? So that is what you can clearly say in the absence of species. But you are listening to any frog, good, you have a good ecosystem next to you.
Okay, maybe we can do 2 or 3 more questions before we switch to the next speaker. You seem to have a lot of questions pouring in now.
Thank you.
So Piyush Sheksaria asks, are we going to see any regional language guides on frogs? And if there are guides, could you please let us know?
Thank you, Piyush. Again, this is where I have to take responsibility. We have to do it in regional language. There's no. As of now, we have one from Kalakkad Mundanturai, which is bilingual kind of thing, which is in Tamil as well as in English. Otherwise, you don't get many field guides in that. But that's a great thing where we can translate into whatever booklet we are producing, can we have it in regional language? That will be a fabulous way to move forward.
Yeah. Okay. So there's another really interesting question, very different from the others. Anina asks, are there any mammals associated with the Malabar tree toad?
As of now, no. But but I have no clue what is happening with them. Only thing that we know is that our understanding of it's being endangered is going to change, because it was till 2004 we had only 5 observations. Now we have 146 observations across Western Ghats, and its range has extended. More number of people have joined, took out their earlier observations and put it on FrogWatch. You can see that at least range wise it has been extended. So that's the information that as of now we have. But probably in a long, like somebody specifically takes and maps it and monitors it, probably they will get some association with other species too.
Okay, maybe we can do one last question before we
Please. move
on. Nirzari asks, quite likely that the 1970 observations are errors in timestamp rather than them being such old observations. Are you open to collaboration on data analysis of the frog observations data?
Absolutely, it's public data. It's not my data. So you can go and easily download those data, send it to IBP. It will actually come to you if you log in, and you can get and you can analyze your data. There's no need for me to be there. Second thing is here, it is the Red Earth person who has asked the question. He is the person who has contributed those 3 data points, and I specifically know why he has contributed. Also, you can also say that it is not a spurious data. It's a valid information he has put in. So it is the contribution that has come from previous time.
Okay. Okay, great. So we can stop here, but Guru, please go to the Slack thread. You have more questions coming in, and some of them might require more discussion.
Absolutely, I will do that. Prabhakar, anything to add here, please? Please feel free to.
There was just one little thing about calls, frog calls, and identification of frog calls, automatic recording of frog calls that you were talking about. But nothing at all. We can.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, people.
Wonderful.
Feel free to ask questions.
Thank you.